Hello again, everyone, and welcome to round 9 of the Midwest F2 season, and it's being held at the racetrack in the desert, the Bahrain International Circuit, which happens to be my favorite track on calendar, and I couldn't be more excited. 5.4-kilometer circuit and its 15 corners are no stranger to hosting memorable and exciting races with its 3 DRS zones and endless opportunity for close racing. The drivers will have to keep aware of the track limits, tire wear, and of course, their fellow competitors. For tonight's Formula 2 Grand Prix, we are officially halfway through the season. And let me tell you, it's been an amazing one so far. Hot spot on the call as we enter the 9th round of the 15-round campaign. We have undergone a lot of driver changes since the last week. Since last week, the Trident team really almost doesn't even exist anymore, except Season 3 champion Scornsy has once again rejoined the ranks of Formula 2 here in the Midwest Esports. And let me just tell you, this could be a very dominating display. However, he has not raced with preset setups before. So, anything is possible here. We are aboard with Scornsy as he makes his way now down the pit straight. And let me tell you, he might be off to a good one here. Down the pit straight into the first corner. Let's see what he's got. From 6th gear, most likely down to 2nd or even 1st if you're feeling lucky. Holding it nicely so far. Everybody on the medium tires. I believe it is going to be mediums and hards for us on display here today. Through the first of the DRS sections here, up into turn number 4. Want to take the apex just a little bit wider than you'd actually expect, really. Heavy over the curbs then. Now down through this winding downhill section now of Sector 2, 5, 6, and 7. Got to be very careful on the exit of turn 7. Those curbs will send you for a spin down into turn 8. Very good spot for overtaking if you can line it up correctly. Look at Scornsy. Hasn't missed a beat, already 2nd. Down now through turns 9 and 10, you got to start the braking zone a lot earlier than you'd initially expect as you get through that one, and quite cleanly he's done as well. DRS open again down this behind the pit straight, the drag strip on the right-hand side of this, straddling the curbs on your way into turn 11. Got to be careful on the throttle through these next couple of corners here to not spin, especially through turn 12. You want to almost ride it on the rev limiter through 5th gear if you can, and then back down into about 3rd gear, 3rd or 2nd, going through turn 13, back on the throttle once more, heading down the final straight that isn't the pit straight, down towards turns 14 and 15, pretty straightforward here, down to 3rd gear, taking the corner as sharp as you can, back on the throttle once more, DRS activated, and I tell you what, Scornsy might just be going for pole here, and he's got it as well. Scornsy hasn't raced in, well, a couple of seasons now, and he's on pole for the Trident team. And let me tell you, no offense to the drivers that Trident has had so far this season, but this is probably the highlight that they've had so far. Scornsy on pole by 8/100ths of a second. Jackson Altman now back to full time. He starts 2nd of the dams. Dirty Boy Jackson 3rd. El Majacco 4th. A-Dub 5th. The top 3 in the Drivers' Championship, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I think I got that right. Killer XL, last week's winner, 6th. Josh Sr. 7th. Jariah Coleslaw, 8th. 9th is Valentine. 10th, Dutchman. 11th, Furchinator. 12th is Villeneuve. 13th, Slayer Eyes. 14th, TB7. Rounding out the field P15 is Cake Thomas, who was not able to put down a clean enough lap. So, that is the grid. Scornsy on pole. My, oh my. I'm actually speechless right now. I did not expect him to rebound that quickly. I know he's been practicing for about the hour or so beforehand in this race, but still, absolutely stellar, the performance that Scornsy has put on for us then. Here we are then, F2 grid. Round 9 of the 15-round championship. Been a very exciting season so far. And it's not even close to over yet. And Valentine mocking Scornsy and is complaining of the presets beforehand. Quickly, as we take a look through the Drivers' Championship, Dirty Boy Jackson's got a 20-point lead over Jacko in 2nd, 197 to 177. Behind them, 22 points behind A-Dub in 3rd at 155. Jariah Coleslaw 4th, Cake Thomas 5th, Josh Sr. 6th, Dusty Lusky, who will not be participating anymore, in 8th. Valentine 10th. And then Manigos 11th. Those are your current highest drivers still active. Now in the constructors' standings, High Tech 1st place, only a 12-point lead over Art in 2nd. Prima back there in third. That's a 60-point gap from second to third. HWA in fourth. MP in fifth. Virtuosi sixth. Trident in seventh. Dams eighth. Carla ninth. Charuz in 10th. So, this one. 15 seconds to go before we get to lights out. Mediums and hards for us on display. It'll be interesting to see what tires people decide to go on, as neither one of them really are going to have any sort of an advantage until halfway through the race. But now we are able to see the second half of the F2 season underway. We have 2, 3, 4, and then eventually 5 lights. And they are off here in the desert. Scornsy gets a good start. Jackson Altman in close behind as well. And it looks like everyone has gotten away cleanly. Kate Thomas trying to look for at least some room towards the back. There's Elma Jacko in the middle. He's trying side by side then with Dirty Boy Jackson, wheel to wheel. Then, oh, and that's a big crash. And Jackson Altman has gone off. And my, oh my, and we already have I believe, a virtual safety car on track, and I'm not even sure what's happened then, but we do know Jackson Altman has gone off then, and that has resulted in Elma Jacko going off then. I believe Killer XL, definitely Dirty Boy Jackson's been caught up in that one as well. That has not gone well whatsoever for the grid so far. Virtual safety car out on track after that one. I'm assuming many drivers resting on wing damage then. I'm more concerned about Elma Jacko towards the top. How much damage is he at? We'll be able to see here in a second. Doesn't look too bad, just missing the end plate on the side. A-Dub, he's looking okay. How's Scornsy looking? He's fine. Furchinator, he looks fine as well. Killer XL, he's missing the end plate on the left-hand side. Valentine then. Kate Thomas looking back as well. I have absolutely no idea what's happened off the start. Dirty Boy Jackson, what's happened with him? Does he have any wing damage, or has he just been caught up perhaps in the carnage? No, he doesn't look to have wing damage either. So, what an interesting start to the Grand Prix then. Scornsy has the lead. Majacko promoted to second. A-Dub third. Furchinator currently fourth. This will be for him, at this moment in time, the highest he has ever been, the best position he's ever been in an F2 Grand Prix that wasn't reverse points grid at this moment in time for Furchinator in the MP. And now, Elma Jacko down to the inside. He was looking for it there on Scornsy, and he might just have it, and he does. Nicely done then from the Prima of Elma Jacko, who might just have himself a good old-fashioned cut into Dirty Boy Jackson's lead atop the atop the driver standings. Scornsy's going to look down to the inside now. Mind you, A-Dub right in this battle as well. Both drivers kind of going a little bit wide through the corner then. Furchinator and Killer XL battling it out then once more. Side by side for the lead is Scornsy and Elma Jacko. Even Stevens as they head down the DRS straight into turn number 4. A-Dub is right there looking for any sort of maneuver. Higher in the podium position. Jacko goes quite wide through the corner. He's got Scornsy to the inside. I think he almost wanted it 3 wide then, but chose better of it. And wow, A-Dub so far very close to taking the lead of the Grand Prix. Jacko and Scornsy wheel to wheel then. A-Dub's going to go around the outside then if Scornsy is going to have the position, perhaps down towards turn 8. Does he have it around the outside? It's still side by side then, and Scornsy is going to pull away just ever so slightly. Mind you, A-Dub is on those hard compound tires. In fact, it's everyone except Scornsy and Jacko. And look at that, Scornsy's gone off then, and he has dropped back significantly down to 5th place, and that has opened up the lead for Elma Jacko then. And I'm not entirely sure what has happened there with Scornsy. Was contact made with A-Dub? It didn't look like there was. Maybe a Scornsy just missed the braking zone and had to go wide. That is very much a possibility there. Killer XL, last week's winner, around the outside. Then if A-Dub going up through turn 12, does he have it? But A-Dub's going to go back down to the inside, and he still has the position for now. However, this battle not over yet. Kate Thomas has rebounded up to P7 so far. Furchinator down to 6th. Scornsy down to 5th. Scornsy looking around the inside now of Valentine as they go down the straight towards turn 14. Killer XL within a couple of tenths then on on A-Dub in second. Can he perhaps find a move to be made here? Fastest lap goes to Elma Jacko, 1:42.495. Scornsy and Valentine wheel to wheel here as they head towards turn number 1. Ahead of them, it looked like Killer XL maybe had a look then at A-Dub, but to no avail. Still side by side now between these two, and it looks as if Scornsy has gotten the better of the Virtuosi driver then. Nicely done. DRS activated here. Scornsy, this is Killer XL wheel to wheel then with A-Dub ahead of him, but to no avail. Valentine down to the inside on Scornsy. Way to mix it up with a Division 1 driver and a former champion, and he's almost held on to position, but not quite. Very nice effort then from Valentine, but he wasn't able to make the move happen. Killer XL, he's still within 3/10 of A-Dub ahead of him. This is going to be a great battle here. Yellow flag towards the back. It looks like, oh, Slayerized has gone off, reserving then tonight for Nikki 64. Shariah Coleslaw back there in 14th. Now, I'm not sure what's happened with him. I'm assuming he was part of the melee then of turn 1. Kate Thomas down to the inside on Furchinator through turn 10. That was a beautiful maneuver. But as we were saying, I'd have to assume that Shariah Coleslaw was somehow involved perhaps in that skirmish then at the beginning of the race. He has pitted for the hard tires once again, and he is considerably off the pace. Not sure what's happened, but happened it has. Josh Sr. now, he's going to look to get around Furchinator here for the 7th spot. Within that slipstream is the Virtuosi driver on the MP ahead of him. It's quite the gap throughout the top couple of spots here, minus Killer XL, who does have Scornsy hot on his heels. 2.5 second gap from Jacko back to A-Dub. A-Dub back to Killer XL's about 1.5 seconds, and Scornsy now within 3/10 of the Art driver ahead of him, or ART, whatever. Position then, also side by side, it looked like Cake Thomas and Valentine then heading into the first corner. Does perhaps Valentine have the move, or does Cake Thomas hold on to it with the inside line? It does look like Valentine's going to get around the outside then. Nicely done then, but Cake Thomas not done with him quite yet. Still wheel to wheel, heading up towards turn number 4 with DRS on the side then of the high-tech driver. Does he have the position then? He's going to certainly keep looking for it. No, unfortunately he doesn't. Josh Sr. then getting around Furchinator. Dirty Boy Jackson, can he perhaps rebound then up towards the rest of the top 10? He's got Josh Sr. and Furchinator side by side ahead of him now, heading down towards turn number 8. Very good racing this is. Contact there between Josh Sr. and Furch, wheel to wheel. And Furch slipping down the order even more. Dirty Boy Jackson's going to have to look for positions here. Yellow flag then. Who has gone off? And it looks like, oh, has perhaps Valentine or someone had an incident then. Yellow flag there was. Valentine has slipped back ever so slightly, and Dirty Boy Jackson getting taken round the outside from Furchinator now, and that was a nice move then, but Furchinator still down to the inside. Does he have it? Wheel-to-wheel contact made! Somehow Dirty Boy Jackson escapes with his life. Furchinator drops down the order, but man, that was almost catastrophic then for the ART driver. And let me tell you, this guy's an absolute master at car control. No surprise to me whatsoever that he was able to save the car, but by goodness, that one was close. Villeneuve, 2.5 tenths away from Dirty Boy Jackson here. The previous contact has opened the door significantly. Scornsy did get around Killer XL in the end. He's now within 1 second on A-Dub ahead, although I'm afraid he's not going to be able to make a move happen really anytime soon, unless he perhaps closes that gap significantly, which he just might. He's gotten a much better exit of the first couple of corners then. 0.7 of a second. A-Dub as a former champion in his mirrors, but mind you, Jacko and Scornsy kind of on the awkward strategy here, both starting on the medium tire. They're going to be backs against the wall, I would assume, unless they can accumulate somewhat of a large gap then, which, by the way, Jacko currently only has 18 seconds back to TDB Dutchman in 13th, so when Jacko pits, you would expect some significant positions to be lost. Speaking of positions being lost, here's Slayerized and TDB Dutchman battling it out here, and I think Slayerized is going to try around the outside. Nearly had it, wasn't able to get onto the throttle quick enough, almost into the back of him there. It looks like the two Virtuosi drivers might be in close quarters here. Dirty Boy Jackson as well, and he's going to have DRS as the ART driver, looking to close down the gap back to both Virtuosis here. Positions gained, Cake Thomas up 10 from his initial starting spot of P15 after failing to put together a valid timed attempt. Scornsy and A-Dub side by side then momentarily, but Scornsy now within the slipstream of the HWA in front of him, but still unable to make a move happen, and all the while Jacko pulling out a nearly 2.5 second lead. However, it does seem to be shrinking just a little bit, staying very stagnant. DRS here for the Trident. Can he find his way down to the inside? He's certainly going to look for it. Yes, he does. Does he have it, though? And yeah, I think he's going to have that one even before they get to the corner. Very nicely done then from Scornsy, but A-Dub still trying to find position here, and I think Scornsy might just have DRS as well. No, he doesn't. He was ahead before the activation point. A-Dub now, can he find his way back to the Trident. No, he's actually had to get on the brakes quite early then. Maybe it was perhaps contact made as Scornsy's gone quite wide on exit of that corner. Josh Sr. Has been overtaken by Dirty Boy Jackson within the last lap, but here comes Josh Sr. looking around the outside to no avail though, however. A-Dub within 3/10 on Scornsy ahead, making their way through Sector 2 now, heading towards turns 9 and 10. It's a beautiful camera shot here. Just look, A-Dub doing his best to keep close to the Trident ahead of him, but I'm afraid he's just not had any success so far. It looks like the gap from Jacko back to Scornsy has dropped about 2/10 since the beginning of the lap. Dirty Boy Jackson, he's within 3/10 now on Valentine ahead of him. Can he perhaps look for the move around the outside? No, I tell you what, Dirty Boy Jackson, despite having a lot of ground to be made up, we've got TDV Dutchman, I believe that is, off towards the back. Yep, he spun it coming off of turn 10. But as we were saying, Dirty Boy Jackson, you have to appreciate, is being very patient here, taking his time. He's going to have 10 laps to go this time by to get back up into the serious point-scoring positions. Doing everything he can to get around Valentine here. And now he's rebounded quite nicely after the incident he had early on. We'd have to assume that we're going to be looking at drivers pitting here very shortly. Within the next couple of laps, I would assume. Valentine going down towards the inside of the circuit. Dirty Boy Jackson switching back, sends him the dummy, and now he's going up the inside. Can he find that position into the first corner? Valentine really running him down close to the inside of the track. Really, it's about as close as you can get. Valentine then switching back to the inside. Brilliant defensive work then from Valentine. Did not entirely give up the position. Still side by side. And Dirty Boy Jackson is going to take him around that outside. Even with the DRS here of Valentine, he's not going to be able, I don't think, to get the position back. There's a very nice string of maneuvers then from the ART driver to get around both Virtuosis then. And speaking of Virtuosis, they're wheel-to-wheel now, heading down through Sector 2, and I think Josh Sr. Thought better of it then and kind of decided to back out before any significant damage happened. Meanwhile, at the top of the grid, 1 second the gap between Scornsy and Jacko. Scornsy is going to have DRS this time. I don't expect him to be making any serious lunges until he perhaps gets down towards turn 1 here. Slayerized down to the inside of Team B7 Racing. Wasn't able to make it happen. Still looking for it though. Wow! And I tell you what, he is way outbraked the MP then, the HWA then. Very nice from Team B, from Slayerized rather that was. Wow, what a lunge, and he's made that move happen. Scornsy still within 6/10 on Elma Jacko. If we just look and see once again the gap from the leader on back, it is now opened up to 30 seconds back to TDV Dutchman. So Jacko, I would assume, has a healthy little gap now on his way back to pitting. But the more that these two battle, the more that it will obviously increase the deficit. Killer XL, 5-second penalty, speeding in the pit lane. Last week's winner, not what he needed. Scornsy within 4/10 on Elma Jacko now. Killer XL, first one into the pits. Is he performing somewhat of an undercut here, or is this the planned stop? Not quite sure. Scornsy, within a couple of tenths on Jacko. Can he find a move? Well, I'm not quite sure he's got anything for him yet, but he's going to look down to that inside. You can see the graining on the left front tire of the Trident, so we're going to go ahead and assume the stops will be happening within the next 2 laps. Jacko a bit slow then, through turns 5 and 6. Scornsy might have a move here, down into turn 8. He's going to go round the outside, heading into the corner. Does he have any sort of a look? No, he really doesn't. However, he's still within line, going towards turns 9 and 10. Oh, and he backs out of it then. I don't want to say that was a smart move from Scornsy. He's been nice and patient. He thinks he can take him on a straight rather than getting him into a corner and perhaps making contact. Within the slipstream then, on the championship leader, I think it will be. Well, that's actually not true. He's got a 20-point gap back to Dirty Boy Jackson. It certainly looked like that earlier on in the race. Wow, big slide then from Scornsy. Somehow he was able to hold on to the car, but he has not made the move yet. Now switching back down to the inside, looking towards turn number 13 here. Doesn't have anything for him just yet. I would assume Scornsy would like to be ahead of Majacko by the time they get to the pit window, which I'm assuming very shortly. In that slipstream. Just having a little bit of a peek down to the inside just to see if he could perhaps get a run on him. No, he doesn't. And mind you, Elma Jacko being the leader of the Grand Prix, well, everyone else is going to play off the strategy that Elma Jacko doesn't do. Scornsy now down to the inside. It's going to be side by side for the lead. Who will have it? Still side by side then going into the first corner. Scornsy has the bottom line. He's actually gone quite wide on exit. Can Elma Jacko strike back here? He's going to switch back and forth. I tell you what, he might have another shot. DRS enabled then for the Prima driver, side by side as they head towards turn 4. Dirty Boy Jackson on his way in to fit the medium compound tires. Side by side then, was perhaps contact made? It almost looked like there was. Scornsy shot way to the outside of the circuit, wheel to wheel then between these two, and Scornsy doing everything he can to regain his position. This is excellent racing here. And I think, unfortunately, perhaps, we might be too deep into the championship for Scornsy to have any serious run at the title. However, he's certainly been a huge monkey wrench thrown into the plans of El Majaco, A-Dub, and Dirty Boy Jackson. Speaking of A-Dub, he's in on this battle as well. He's only 0.4 of a second behind Scornsy, and this is what we were talking about. When these battles happen, it only hinders the two battling. A-Dub really could be in position to take the lead here. Accidentally going back down to Cake Thomas. With Cake Thomas, by the way, 11 positions gained since the start. It's been a great day for him so far. 1, 2, and 3, all within 0.6 of a second. Not even that. We're looking at maybe 0.4 at most. As now we head down to the pit straight for the 10th time, or 9th time. So El Majaco looking to come in. A-Dub covers off the move. This is important here. El Majaco in the pits. A-Dub follows. Cake Thomas as well. We're going to go ahead and assume we're going to see Josh Sr. in here in a minute. Scornsy has chosen to stay out one more time, but is he faster than El Majaco? That is the question. Josh Sr. also stays out. A-Dub in, Cake Thomas in, Jacko in, Valentine in as well. Fortunator then gets promoted back to 4th. However, A-Dub has gone out of the pits ahead of El Majaco and on the faster compound tires as well. Huge, huge development here. With very little to no time left, it's going to be, 6 laps to go this next time by. Mind you, the tires are going to take just a minute to get back up to temperature. So now, here's El Majaco looking to get around A-Dub here. He's got DRS, but was on the hards. Fortunator, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. I gotta say, starting on the hards, I think was probably the right maneuver at the end of the day. Is look at the speed that A-Dub is already pulling out over El Majaco. Already 0.9 of a second over the Prima behind him. And quite the gap has formed in between this latest rounds of pit stops. We also have to mention the wing damage that El Majaco has along the right side of the car. Specifically that front end plate on the right-hand side. Now, he's definitely going to be losing some corner ability and some straight line speed as well. Into the pits comes Scornsy. Now, let's see what happens here. From the leader on back, we can go ahead and assume he's going to drop down to about 5th is Scornsy. Josh Sr. on his way in as well. So is Villeneuve. So is Fortunator. No, Fortunator stays out. Bold maneuver then from the MP driver, temporarily albeit, but he's going to take the lead of the Grand Prix. Team B7 in. A-Dub, obviously the most recent driver. He will be, I think, taking the lead of the Grand Prix once Fortunator decides to come in, unless does Scornsy beat him out of the pits. This is crucial here. Does A-Dub have him into the corner? No. Scornsy's actually come out miles ahead then. A-Dub's going to have some serious work to do, but mind you, Scornsy on the hard tires. There goes Dirty Boy Jackson picking up fastest lap of the Grand Prix. So, A-Dub behind Scornsy then. Scornsy pulled out the good decision then to do the overcut over El Majaco and will eventually inherit the lead of the Grand Prix. But does A-Dub have anything for him on the faster tires? Now is going to be, he's going to have to strike while the iron's hot here, or while the iron's rather cold, as Scornsy's tires, fresh hards, are going to take a while for temperature to be built into him. And plus the mediums are going to be the better tire anyways for a considerable amount of time here. 5 laps to go at the stripe this time. DRS enabled for the HWA. And Jackson Altman seems to be quite upset with somebody off the start. I'm not quite sure who it was. We'd have to look at it again. But here comes A-Dub, trying to look for it on El Majaco here. And this is actually Scornsy in front of him. Mind you, A-Dub has won 2 rounds so far this season, France and Spain. This will put him, should he driver this season, at 3 wins. Fortunator into the pits. How far back does he drop? I'm actually quite curious about that. But here's A-Dub, way down to the inside of the pit wall. He's going to look for it around the right-hand side, or the left-hand side, rather. Does he have it? No. Scornsy defending like a brick wall here. And for now, A-Dub, does he have the position? I think he'll have DRS as well. Side by side, the two they were, and they still are. DRS goes the way of Scornsy. However, I don't think he's going to have enough to overtake the HWA here. He's going to have a look for it up into turn 4, but he just doesn't have it. Dirty Boy Jackson's won twice this year. Jonathan Dunk's won twice this year. A-Dub's won twice this year. Jacko's won once, and that was at Singapore. Killer XL won last week. A-Dub will have 3 wins at the end of this week, should the result stand. He's got 4.5 laps to do it. He's got 2 former champions in his rearview mirrors, albeit Elma Jacko a little bit further back. Scornsy immediately there. Fortunator drops down to 11th. It still won't be a terrible points haul for him, 9 points. DRS then goes the way of Scornsy. Really following in the slipstream. Up into turn 11. A-Dub's got to be mindful of not weaving too far across the circuit then. At least not making the move more than once. Dirty Boy Jackson, he's within a couple of tenths on Cake Thomas. The upper hand today will go to Elma Jacko, but only just. As mind you, he's not going to be winning the Grand Prix today, it doesn't seem. Dirty Boy Jackson has taken a hit in the driver standings, but not really. A-Dub, mind you, is going to be scoring 30 points today with this win. That will put him quite solidly in this championship hunt, if he is to win the race. And look at A-Dub in maneuvering across the circuit then. Of course, he's trying to break the toe, but remember, you can only make one move, that being to defend the position. I'm not entirely sure about breaking the toe. I'd have to go to the rules for that. I'm hoping that his win doesn't get taken away by some sort of penalty then, as Dirty Boy Jackson, I think, has just gone around the outside then of Cake Thomas, putting him into 4th place. I really would not like to see the win taken away via a steward's report. But if that's what needs to happen, that's what'll need to happen. 2 tenths here, the gap between Scornsy and A-Dub. Now, I really thought that the tire advantage that A-Dub was going to have was going to be more significant than just a couple of tenths. But it certainly seems like he's really going to have to defend the rest of the Grand Prix. Cake Thomas, he's within a couple of tenths then on Dirty Boy Jackson ahead of him, but the real battle, once again, for the lead. DRS in A-Dub once again making the maneuver down to the inside of the circuit and then back across to the right. A-Dub doing everything he can in order to defend this position. He knows that he's close, he's within reach of this championship battle. He knows that he's going to be firmly cemented in it this week at least. But does he have enough to hold off the Season 3 champion of Scornsy, who, by the way, was an absolutely dominating season that he had? I was actually lucky enough to share the win with him at Monza in the final round of said season, I believe. Scornsy fastest lap, within 2 tenths of A-Dub ahead. He's going to go down to the inside. Side by side, 3 laps to go. Scornsy has the lead. Very nicely done then. A-Dub still behind on the mediums. Can he find his way? Can he find any more pace to take the win away from Scornsy? DRS enabled. Scornsy waited patiently to make the maneuver happen. Now, unfortunately for Scornsy's case, that comes to haunt him sometimes. If you follow the Coleslaw Cup, which runs on Mondays, you'd know that happened yesterday. But A-Dub now still just under 3 tenths of a second away from perhaps having the win. But he's got a former champion in front of him and behind him. Mind you, the former champion behind him not necessarily providing any sort of challenge. He's got the front wing damage, which is surely hindering his performance. A-Dub, he surely cannot panic now. He's just got to hang tight to the back of Scornsy. He's got DRS. But look at him. The gap is still growing then. 7 tenths of a second and counting. 2 laps to go this next time by. Cake Thomas and Dirty Boy Jackson, these guys have been battling it out all day so far. Cake Thomas once again up 10 positions since the start. Back up to P5. His teammate Shariah Coleslaw, on the other hand, it's not exactly going to plan. which, by the way, these two, I think, separated by 3 points in the driver's standings so far this season. A-Dub, 0.7 of a second away. However, it does appear to be closing. Scornsy down to the inside of the circuit then. He's actually lost about 0.2 of a second doing that. A-Dub with DRS, 2 laps to go, and look at him, he's closing that gap now. Into turn 1, Scornsy floats wide, A-Dub hangs tight. He's going to switch back down to the inside of the circuit, Scornsy to the outside. DRS enabled then for the HWA. The gap staying rather stagnant, about 0.3 of a second. He's not able to close the gap just yet. He's still right there, though, in the gearbox. Now down to within 0.2. Can he find any sort of room here to get around the Trident, who, by the way, on his debut on this season, mere hours ago, took over one of the 2 vacant Trident seats and now could perhaps find himself a win here. 0.4 of a second. A-Dub, I think, is losing time somewhere here through Sector 2, but in the straight line speed is really still close. DRS enabled then for the HWA. Will he have anything here on this next lap and a half? He's just got to be patient. He's got to find the move. He's got to be clean throughout this final sector. And once they get to the pit straight and the other DRS sections, he might have him then. But he's got to keep it clean. Looking very well so far. But if he can remain mistake-free, he might have him. Remember, that gap was 0.7 of a second 1 lap ago. And now it's down within 3.5. This move might just happen here. Final lap of the Grand Prix. Exiting these final couple corners now. 1 lap to go this time by. DRS enabled for A-Dub. Across the stripe they go, heading towards turn 1. A-Dub closing in. Will he be able to have it? Scornsy down to the inside, defending the position. A-Dub is there along the outside. He's going to wait for Scornsy to drift out wide. A-Dub hanging around the outside. Can he have it? He's gotten a much better exit of turn 2, and here comes A-Dub up the outside. Can he find it into turn 4? Side by side for the win. A-Dub doing everything he can, still defending the position. Does he clear Scornsy on exit of 4? No, he doesn't. Scornsy aches back ahead. Still very close. Still half a lap to go. Can A-Dub find his way back to Scornsy here? He's certainly going to be looking for it down into turn 8. Doesn't have it for now. 2.5 of a second the gap. He's going to have it within this next DRS zone. If he doesn't, then it's going to be one hell of a challenge, and he's going to have to pull off something desperate, but Scornsy has absolutely commanded through Sector 2 then, and the gap now 6.5. Scornsy, I'd have to say, unless he makes a mistake, might just have this one wrapped up. A-Dub, close behind, but not close enough to make something happen. Through turn 12 they go. Scornsy, 0.7 of a second the gap. A-Dub doing everything he can. Perhaps A-Dub just needed an extra lap to make the win happen. But Scornsy, he's not Division 3 champion, Season 3 champion in F2. Whoa! Big wiggle then from Scornsy. A-Dub's gonna take it up the inside, and somehow A-Dub's gonna come away with the win. What have we just witnessed? Scornsy had it all. Going through turns 14 and 15, had the wiggle of oversteer on exit, and A-Dub takes the win of the Bahrain Grand Prix. By God Almighty, what have we just witnessed? A-Dub in the HWA taking the win at the death, the very death. Didn't even have DRS to his aid, and he takes the win. And now is the winningest driver so far this season with 3 wins. So after one hell of a Grand Prix here in Bahrain, it's A-Dub taking the win. Scornsy in second, although starting on pole and having the fastest lap, that'll earn him a couple points. Jacko in third, Dirty Boy Jackson fourth, Cake Thomas fifth, Josh Sr. sixth, Killer XL seventh, eighth is Valentine, ninth Villeneuve, 10th Slayer Ice, 11th Furchinator, his best finish in F2, 12th is TDV Dutchman, 13th Team B7, 14th Shrek Coleslaw, rounding out the field, unfortunately did not finish, is Jackson Altman. So, I think we definitely have to accept that A-Dub might be in this championship battle now. Dirty Boy Jackson has taken a hit today, albeit it's only a couple of points, but what will happen next week when the league, the entire league, for the first time heads to the Miami International Autodrome for round number 10 of the season? Hotspot, it's been a pleasure joining you on the call, and we will see you next week.